Hello geeks, this is Brian Kui from medcodinggeek.com, and I have another video in regards to education requirements. And so these past videos have kind of been a transition, and I've been going over some posts in regards to interviewing, in regards to experience, needing experience to get into a job, getting into a job, and their educational requirements are crazy. And in this one that I'm about to show you, I kind of held back in wanting to talk about this, especially in the beginning of this year, because I didn't want to start the year off with this story because it was such a downer. I'm going to go over this situation. I talked to this person back in December, and unfortunately, things didn't go well. And so in this video, I'm going to talk about it and really just go over it. It's really heartbreaking, but let's just get to the video. Alright guys, my name is Brian Kui again from medcodinggeek.com. I have over 20 years of experience in healthcare, including CDI, health information management, and medical coding. If you're watching this channel for the first time, welcome. I do videos on everything revolving around the profession of HIM, CDI, and medical coding. This story or this situation that I do want to share, it really touched home to me because normally people reach out to me for help, and I typically don't give my time to people as much because sometimes they just want me to give them, like a boot camp or some tutoring, and unfortunately I don't have time within my busy schedule, especially in December. December was crazy. All right, let's go through it. This came from my Facebook instant messenger. Again, I manage Facebook groups including Medical Coding Geeks, the RHIT and RHIA exam support group, the CDI network, all those Facebook groups. You could find them below in the description. But this person reached out to me, and just to give you a little bit of background, she is a nurse up in the Northeast. I'm not gonna say where, I'm not gonna say the hospital that she had worked for, but her background is in nursing. She has, I believe, over 20 years of nursing. She's been a director. She's been a nursing educator. And she found CDI, clinical documentation integrity, to be interesting. And she actually had found a job and she was hired, right? Unfortunately, she was struggling a bit in the role and she reached out to me. And so I'm going to show you some posts from her. Again, anonymous. I'm new to CDI and I'm wondering what is the time frame when things start to look hopeful. So I guess the question is, when do you feel like when you're in CDI, it finally starts to come together? All of your training, all of your education, and she has a nursing background. I think that the struggle is for nurses getting into CDI is understanding the coding aspect. It's different from nursing. It really is more technical. It just takes a lot of time. And when you pair up medical coding and try to apply it from a CDI perspective, I'd like to say it takes a year. Okay, it takes a year for you just to get the hang of things and to get things rolling. And I mentioned in the previous video, if you really want to have a good foundation, it probably takes about 2 to 3 years to have a good foundation to where you can take that experience and move on to the next job. But it depends. If you're a new coder, at least have 3 years of experience. If you have cumulative experience, then that's where you can go, find a job, stay in 1.5 years, move on to the next one, stay another year, that type of thing. There's a difference between cumulative and just initial experience. At least if when you have 3 years of experience, then you're good to go. So I said it's about a year, and she was excited that I actually responded back. Then she said she's been a CDI for 2.1 months and it's been rough. She's been currently in this role and she is expected to have a good handle on coding to the correct specificity, no coding clinic, and pick up my speed with initial cases and her follow-ups. Did I mention queries? So much has taken place in this role from prior to my start date, orientation, her equipment not working. It's been a whirlwind, but she loves it. But they expect her to be on the top of her game with minimal mistakes and minimal assistance. So basically, they want her to be perfect within 2.1 months. It didn't feel right. So she started 2 months ago. She's been only reviewing charts for about 5 weeks. So 5 weeks of actual hands-on record reviewing. They're giving these high expectations. I think she was very frustrated at this point, and so I think, again, I felt the tone in her message, in her instant message, and I told her, relax, you're learning, it's a process. And I told her I started with zero coding, zero clinicals, and I had it rough. But fortunately enough, the people that hired me, they took a chance on me. They took time for me to learn into the role. And I told her, like anything, she just needs practice, more practice. But again, I think she wasn't being given the time to practice. She wasn't being given any time to make mistakes, learn from them, and then move forward. When you have somebody or an institution or a policy and procedure or a department that has minimal mistakes, high quality, then there's no room for error. And if there's no room for error, there's no room for learning. No error, no learning. No failure, no learning. It's go, 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 go. Get it done. That can be emotionally, taxing on somebody who is trying to learn. So without going too much into this, what had happened was we eventually had to set up a phone call, and she was desperate to have somebody help her. And so we got into a phone call, and she was very emotional. She wanted me to just look over her things and see what she was doing. And eventually we got down to I was looking at some of her stuff. She was explaining to me what she had to do. At the end of that session, my evaluation that was in about 2.5 months, in about 5 weeks of chart review, I thought she was doing great. She has her bearings down. She needed to just get more practice. And unfortunately, that didn't happen. The story goes is that she got into a role. She had one trainer. After that, she had a change in trainers. But before that, she was getting evaluations, and they say she was doing good. When they changed her trainer, things changed. And so her evaluation started to go down. From there, they started to threaten her with termination, just like the last video, within 2.1 months. What's going on with 8 weeks here? It's about 2.1 months, 8 weeks. I don't know why. That seems unrealistic to give that much time for somebody to meet 100% productivity. If you make a mistake, then that's an issue. Another problem that I also saw was that this specific CDI program required the CDI to do new cases, follow-ups, code the entire chart, code everything. Basically do what an inpatient coder does. And on top of that, place queries. And on top of that, follow up their cases and follow up with physicians. It's a dual role placed into one with zero mistakes required. And for somebody in this case who is new to CDI, that can be nerve-wracking. And so no mistakes, no failures means no learning. So there's no learning component. There is no educational component. And basically every time she asked for help, they told her, look, you can figure it out. We've already trained you. And they were setting her up for failure. If you make a mistake, you'll get fired. I really was trying to root for her. We set up calls, and keep in mind, these are just calls. Just give me a call. Let's talk about it. I want to mentor you. And unfortunately, before Christmas, out of all the times for her to get fired, before Christmas, she got fired. I felt that she was being harassed, and I told her that she needed to go to talk to HR about that, because harassment is not fun. Harassment can be defined as if your manager, if your supervisor is causing you distress, that is grounds for harassment. And so I told her to go to HR and, make that claim. but unfortunately she got fired before Christmas. Since then, we've stayed in touch, and she is keeping her head up. She loves clinical documentation integrity. She's continuing to pursue it. Recently, I believe we had a call before, and she's looking into medical nursing reviews, but she still wants to get into CDI. And again, it's going to happen. But here's the thing, and going back with the last video about education, find a company that allows for education. Be upfront. What are your needs right now as a department? Do you have room for education? Are you going to educate me? Are you going to give me a chance? How much time do I need to reach productivity? And unfortunately, sometimes when you go into a new role blind, you don't know what to expect. And sometimes that can be scary. But you wouldn't know unless you know the questions. And don't be afraid to ask those questions in the interview. And know when to leave. Know when to leave. If it doesn't seem like a right fit, it's time to go. Because I told her earlier on, that sounds like a sinking ship where they're making you do all of these things with high quality, high productivity standards. That sounds like failure. That sounds like a burning ship that is going down in the water and sinking. That is a program that is not set up for success. It's only set up for the bottom line. I just thought I had to share that because I'm sure there are CDI programs, there are coding programs out there that don't give a damn about their employees. They just want to reach the bottom line. They don't want to educate their employees. They don't want to set their team, their group for success. That's one thing that really angers me, is when the leadership is not performing at their best. They're only performing for their own self-interest. And again, it's the bottom line. Jeez, especially with HIM and medical coding, they're tied up to the CFO. And CFO only sees money, and they only talk money. And in order for you to find the common language, you got to speak the CFO talk. And when you get caught up into their needs and their demands, well, then that's where it trickles down to the employees. And that's unfortunate. This department, man, I would hate to work there. I don't like how they're set up. They got to give people a chance. My career has always been about people giving me a chance. And when you're given that chance, you take it. There is a fear of the unknown, but still embrace it. Even though you fail, like in this case, it's a blessing in disguise, as I told her. It is. It really is a blessing in disguise, perhaps. You just got to brush it off, learn from it, and find a better opportunity. All right, guys, so that is it. If you like this video, please give it a like. Also subscribe to our channel. And thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.
medcodinggeek.com